Well, since '06, it's been pretty much up and down. The tumors grow, the tumors restrict. I had surgery in February of this year to, they were going to try to go in and do another debulking. Well, when they got in there, they found that the tumors and its little fingers and weaves had woven themselves into my tissues of my stomach, the linings and everything, so they couldn't do a debulking. So what he did do for me, though, he put in a shunt that drains into my kidneys that allows the fluid that I was carrying around with me, it would just drain off. It's kind of like a downspout. Just bury it and stick it onto the ground and drain out by itself. So that was a relief to me because then I didn't have to have the ultrasound-guided paracentesis anymore, and that was a blessing. But when I had the surgery, again, I got an infection. This one was the worst ever that I had ever had, and what happened was that the total incision opened up and just started gaping open, and they put in staples to, you know, from the surgery, but they just opened up, and they took little pinchers, pulled the stitches, pulled the staples out, and as they did that, my flesh just opened. And they said, oh, we got to go back into surgery. So I think it was like 5 days after I had the surgery, I had to go back into the hospital. I had only been home a day. I had to go back into it because I was oozing fluid externally. And I could sit down and it just oozed out. It was just oozing. And where's all this fluid coming from? What's going on? And that's when they told me I had a terrible infection. And they were going to have to go in and clean it out and cross their fingers and pray a lot and hope for the best because it had spread throughout my abdomen. So they were able to fix the infection, but the doctor told my sister that it wasn't going to get better for quite a while. It was going to get worse, and it did. And I stayed in the hospital for 2 weeks, and I got home during that last big winter storm that we had, and I was sick for another 3 or 4 weeks before I got better. And I couldn't hardly eat, I couldn't walk, couldn't hardly talk. It hurt to breathe. So it was depression, sad, everything you could imagine was happening. But they had to give me all this medicine in order to combat the infection and also medication for pain. And the combination of those two make you pretty delirious, pretty frayed at the ends. So I did a lot of crying and a lot of depression. But I said, God, if you let me get through this, I promise I won't ask for anything else. I promise, I promise. And he took me through it. He got me through. And I went back to the doctor, and he says, you're doing good. You're doing great after all of this. I go, promise me no more surgeries? He says, I can't make you that promise, but the only thing I can do is tell you that this one is now going this way instead of that way. So